look at an important issue students are bringing attention to. We talk with people about the cost of diabetes, community members volunteer to make sure kids have food over the weekend, and we talk with girls new to wrestling this year. Hi, I'm Courtney Thorstensen, and you're watching Eagle Zone. We start this show with an important issue, and it's one students at Central have been bringing awareness to for years. Members of the Native American Student Association choose issues they want to bring to light. One of those is the number of murdered and missing Indigenous people. Here are pictures from 2 years ago showing NASA members standing in front of the high school to honor those who are missing or who've been murdered. Eagle Zone's April 2 talked with an activist who's been part of the fight for change. She joins us with her story. April?
Melissa Chapman Skinner explains in words what is happening to missing Indigenous women and children, including family members.
It is a real epidemic. It's something that people need to be more aware of, that they need to, we need to do more advocacy to share, the stories of those who are missing or murdered, and then what we can do to help, prevent it, or if in the case someone goes missing, then what can we do to help locate that individual?
Due to the lack of resources and many cases going unreported, Chapman Skinner talks about what we can do to help support this cause.
You can start small, so do what you can within your community to advocate for this issue, and then when you're ready, you can branch out.
Chapman Skinner is part of a group that takes concerns to the United Nations. It's devastating for a family member if a member is missing.
There's the financial burden of it, but then the emotional, the physical, the spiritual, right? All of that, and making sure that they're taking care of themselves. So we know that there's that impact.
According to statistics released by Congressman Dusty Johnson, despite making up only 9% of the state's population, 68% of missing people here in South Dakota are Native Americans, 30% are women.
Losing your parent or your sibling in that manner, that's a lot to carry. And so it's then working with those families, how can we help you to heal? So that's also a big part of the work too.
According to Interior Department, violence against Native Americans and Alaska Natives far exceed national averages. You can see more detailed reports on its website.
She showed some video from the South Dakota Missing Persons Clearinghouse in her story. To see that full list, visit missingspersons.sd.gov. Aberdeen Central's competitive vocal groups are starting their seasons. The show choir and vocal jazz unveiled their shows to parents and others. That was supposed to kick off their season, but weather canceled the show choir competition over the weekend. You can watch them perform back home the middle of February during the bistro. The center stage competition is the beginning of March. Juniors, don't forget to schedule a junior meeting with your school counselor. You have the next few months to get that done, but if your last name starts with letters H through O, you need to sign up ASAP. You need to have that done by the beginning of March because your counselor is taking maternity leave. Everyone else has an April 26th deadline. The meetings are required. Counselors take that time to make sure you're on track to reach your high school goals. You may schedule them before or after school, during super study, or during an elective class block. Diabetes is a disease that can come with a big price tag. Eagle Zone's Baton Klatt looks into a recent report detailing those costs, and he talks with people who know all too well what it takes to pay those bills. Baton?
American Diabetes Association published its report showing the cost of battling diabetes in the U.S. There are between 30 and 40 million Americans with the disease. That includes people here in Aberdeen and students here at Central High School. According to the ADA report, on average, people with diabetes pay 2.5 times more in medical costs than they'd have to without the disease. Central senior Sage Wilson has type 1 diabetes. She's met many kids with the disease through the years and knows of many struggling with the cost.
A lot of them have to take up a second job, or like their parents do, or they themselves have to help pay for the insulin too.
The ADA also reports that insulin manufacturers have moved toward cutting prices recently, after costs had been moving the other direction. They also said that after adjusting for inflation, the direct medical cost of diabetes increased by 7% between 2017 and 2022. Corey Klatt is a type 1 diabetic who has lived with this disease for 14 years and wants to see dropping prices as he's experienced the firsthand the consequences of not having insulin.
Where my blood sugar gets way too high for way too long. And I've had that twice where I was hospitalized.
He's had blood sugar so low he couldn't even open a loaf of bread.
So all I did was just kind of start screaming for help until someone came.
This is a disorder that we cannot control. It's something that we have to live with forever, and we can't just not go with insulin because this is what makes us live. So I believe that it should be affordable for all people across the world, and especially in America, where we're seeing the fact that people cannot afford it.
Another cost the ADA tracks is indirect costs of diabetes. Presenteeism, or reduced work productivity, accounts for $35.8 billion in annual indirect costs. Absenteeism, or missed work days, accounts for $5.4 billion in annual indirect costs.
Thanks, Peyton. A graphic in that story showed how drug companies have recently put out-of-pocket caps or other savings programs in place for insulin. For some type 1 diabetics, that spending cap is just starting to kick in. A program that ensures kids have food over the weekend is growing. The number of kids getting sack lunches before leaving school Fridays has increased by hundreds since it first started, and volunteers show up each week to make sure to meet the growing demand. Eagle Zone's Tayon Howard joins us with that story. Tayon?
Students in the Aberdeen School District have received snack packs through the Salvation Army for over 11 years. It first originated at Lincoln Elementary School, then branched out to other schools. Rob Webb is one of the organizers. He and other volunteers prepare hundreds of sack lunches each Friday morning for kids to take home over the weekend.
I got started in 2012, and it was a different group then, I'll tell you.
The program focuses on giving food out to students who might not have a full meal over the weekend when they do not have school lunch. The group was looking for volunteers that could dedicate their time to the kids and have fun while doing it.
They enjoy helping out with projects of the Salvation Army, and so they come in and do this. They can put in an hour or two and have fun and talk and chat and keep going.
As the school year continues, Webb and his group of volunteers will keep doing everything they can to keep our students fed around the Aberdeen School District.
Get together with people and do a wonderful project for the Salvation Army, because they stretch the dollar as far as you can stretch it.
In addition to food, another important effort this time of year is winter gear for kids who need to stay warm.
Thanks, Tayon. The Salvation Army is always looking for volunteers. The volunteer tab on the nonprofit's website lists several ways you can be involved. The long wait is finally over, with the semi-formal dance being announced this week. The dates for this year will be on Friday the 26th of this month from 8 to 11 p.m. So you better find a nice fit quickly. There's a $5 admissions fee, and students are required to bring their IDs. We'll be right back after this message created by Media Production students.
What if you don't see it through? What if you don't own your action? What if you don't adapt your plan? What if you don't reflect and revise?
Welcome back. We had a pretty nice start to winter, but weather has started disrupting sports schedules. Eagle Zone's Gavin Bitts joins us with this week's sports. Gavin?
Thanks, Courtney. I have some highlights for you this week. I was supposed to have more, but the weather in the southeast part of the state postponed or canceled some competitions. The boys and girls wrestling triangular in Yankton, scheduled for January 11th, is postponed to the 23rd. And boys and girls basketball against T has been postponed until this Thursday, the 18th. But we have highlights from the game between Northeast South Dakota teams that aren't affected by the recent storms. Aberdeen Central boys hosted Watertown in a thriller that ended with a buzzer beater. We pick up the game in the first half. Brendan Phillips brings the ball down and sends it over to Parker Lamar on the wing. Lamar dribbles forward and gets the 14th-footer to drop for the Eagles. Now to the second half. The Eagles find Donnie Soderlund on the right side. The senior wastes no time getting the shot off, and he sinks the three-pointer. The Eagles have been up early, but the Arrows come back and take a one-point lead when Aberdeen has its final possession at the end of the game. Eagles are running, and Lamar with the cross-court pass to an open Phillips. The junior just beats the buzzer with this three that gives the Golden Eagles a 2-point win. The girls traveled to Watertown and also earned a win against the Arrows. The wrestling program is looking strong this year, with the boys sitting third place in the state behind Pierre and Sturgis. Girls team are still building up across the state, as the sport has only been sanctioned a few years in South Dakota. We already talked about the efforts the Aberdeen team has taken to recruit more girl wrestlers. Eagle Zone's Claire Moe talks with the new recruit to see how the new experience is going. Claire?
Girls wrestling separated completely from boys this year. Different competitions, different practices, and hopes for more girls joining the sport. Leaders on the team, such as Katrina Gibson, are happy with what they're seeing so far, but more work needs to happen.
I think we recruited a really good bunch. We have some really strong girls, and I think we have a really strong team that's going to keep growing.
One of the new girls, Lily Nelson, joined the team, making this her first year of wrestling.
It's fun. A lot of new things need to be learned, though. I'm behind more than others, so yeah.
Coach Flakis sees potential as the new recruits learn.
One of our new girls, she won her first ever match and it helped us win a duel, so that was kind of cool to see again. Her first ever match that she won, and it helped us get a win as a team, so that was really good to see.
Coach Flakis hopes every year more girls join the team. He needs to see more numbers to remain competitive. Nelson expects other girls to check out the program and stick around like she has.
I think after this year we will have a few more.
Any girls with interest in the program can contact Flakis or other wrestlers with questions.
Thanks, Claire. We'll share girls and boys wrestling highlights as they host teams in Aberdeen. And finally, we're in the NFL postseason, so we're asking people around the school for their predictions. Before the playoffs started, we asked people to guess who would be in the Super Bowl. We'll check back each week to see whose predictions are still on track. Eagle Zone's Max Padal has this week's Super Bowl soothsayers.
All right, we've got a junior sitting over here in the corner, and your name is?
Peyton.
All right, Peyton, who do you think is going to be in the Super Bowl this year?
I think it's going to be the Bills and the 49ers.
All right, we're here with our sophomore, and your name is?
Preston Brake.
All righty, who do you think is going to be in the Super Bowl this year?
I'm thinking the Niners and Ravens.
Their predictions are still on track, but Preston's picks haven't even played yet, so of course they're still in. We are here with our teacher, and her name is?
Miss Kraus.
All right, Kraus. Who do you think is going to be in the Super Bowl this year?
I'm going to go with the 49ers and the Ravens.
But not everyone can be right after this first week. We're here with our senior. Your name is?
Quincy Madsen.
All right, who do you think is going to be in the Super Bowl this year?
The Ravens and the Cowboys.
We're here with our freshman. Your name is?
Trigg.
All righty, who do you think is going to be in the Super Bowl this year?
The Cowboys and the Ravens.
We also asked AI to predict. They said the Packers and the Chiefs. After this first week, maybe they know something we don't. See you next week.
Again, we'll track those predictions until Super Bowl Sunday to see how good the guessers really are. Courtney?
Thanks, Gavin. That's all for this episode of Eagle Zone. You can always watch our stories whenever you want by scrolling down to the Eagle Zone section of the school district website. That's aberdeen.k12.sd.us. We leave you this week with a look around Simmons Elementary. With Eagle Zone, I'm Courtney Thorstensen. We'll see you next week.